everyone, I am Terry Ikumi. Today, an educationist, a professor, the presidential candidate of the Accord Party, who is the youngest of the presidential candidates, and who says he is representing the youths in the presidential race, is my guest today on Political Paradigm, Professor Christopher Imumolen. Prof, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
You know, it's 2 months since campaigns kicked off based on the INEC schedule. I'd like to find out from you, how has it been for you campaigning at the highest level of politics in Nigeria?
Yeah, truthfully, it's not been easy, but I believe it's a tax that is worth it. You know, the Nigerian politics is one that a new face is sometimes we must swim against the tide. You know, swimming against the tide means that swimming towards acceptance of our ideology to make Nigerians actually understand what we stand for and why it's important that our generation be given the opportunity to serve the nation, especially at the level of the president. You know, we've seen this happen in other countries. You know, recently the UK just elected a president of our generation, of our age. You know, countries like France, Grenada, and other part of the world have. But over here, maybe because of the kind of education of the people, large chunk of those that want to vote in the rural communities, the voters' education is quite not what is expected. But again, like I said, it's not an easy task, but it's one that is worth it. We're doing it. We've been moving around the state from the grassroots because we know that politics is local. And what we've been doing more is to get our votes, is to get our supporters, get the education they need, and also making sure that we get the votes counted. So we are working around the clock. I'm looking at the 176,000 polling units, how to feed our polling unit agents, how to get votes. Because at the end of the day, it's the vote you get that will truly matter. How many states have you been to, and what sort of reception have you received? We've not been to all the states. You know, our campaign calendar is out, and we are working gradually, but at least we've visited let's say up to 40% of the states in Nigeria, touching the zones and the zones, and the reception is quite encouraging because out there you see Nigerians are actually looking for a change in the system. Nigerians are looking for fresh air, and whenever we appear to Nigerians, they kind of smile and say, "Wow, are you sure yes, you are what we want," but the Nigerian politics is, but again, we keep reassuring Nigerians that we can do it, we can make it happen. Nigerians who have taken time to research us, to know what we have done personally in our private capacity, know that we have what it takes to actually fix the challenge of Nigeria. And personally, I know I have what it takes to fix the Nigerian problem, and that is why I'm gunning for the office. And again, the experience is wonderful. Touching a lot of places in Nigeria, looking at the tribe, the belief system, the traditional system. So have you been shocked by any tribal or religious sentiments so far in your movement across the country? No, not really. The acceptance have been there. Most traditional houses that we visit accept us with open hands, because when any of these traditional religious rulers, Nigerians see us, they see a true Nigeria. When they hear us speak, we don't speak just like the politicians out there. We are coming from the private sector. We have done a lot of grassroots work in supporting Nigerians. That is where we are coming from educating Nigerians. I am the founder of Unique Foundations, an NGO that have been providing support in our only two way to Nigerians. So we already understand the way to speak to Nigerians, to make them understand that we are actually here not because we want to enrich ourselves. We are here because we want to solve the job. And when every Nigerian hears this, Nigerians are human beings. Nigerians are loving people. Nigerians want a change. Nigerians want a better life. So when they hear us speak, they feel our emotion, they feel our hearts, and that by itself has given a lot of open doors and reception.
Some would say that receiving a political candidate is a regular thing because, this money-driven politics of ours would would prompt anyone to open their arms to a politician because, as they say it in Nigerian parlance, something could drop. So when you talk about the acceptance that you've gained from cultures or tribes that are not yours, it raises a question. Do you feel that genuine acceptance, or have you had to, part with some money?
No, we cannot do it the way others do it if we truly want to change the system. So, but traditionally in Nigeria, you don't visit a king without. Let's take politics. Let's take politics out of it. You don't, even if you are not a politician, if you want to visit a king, you must go with a bottle of wine. It's our tradition in Africa. So that is all. Let's take politics. Even if I'm going to visit my king in the village, it's not about money. It's about the champagne. It's our culture, and we can't take that out of our life. So I think, and that is not the reason why we are accepted, because we go to a traditional. We go to churches, we speak without. We go to communities to speak without. But if peradventure we get there and there's a need to solve a problem, just like the flood challenge, we solve a problem. That shows that we truly care, and we are not solving that problem because of politics or because we want to buy their conscience. No. We have been doing it with or without politics. In our NGO, we've been providing empowerment support to Nigerians for the past 10, 15 years on our own. And we continue doing that. So, but when it comes to exchanging money to get the mind of people to vote for you, that is totally wrong, and we will not engage in that. So the acceptance we get from Nigeria is because the Nigerian people are beginning to see fresh faces, youth in the race who believe in themselves, who believe they can actually give a shot at this and at the end of the day win the election. So that actually brings, that renewed hope is what brings the acceptance.
I think it's encouraging that to hear someone like you say that, because I recall that one of the concerns of the candidates from the smaller parties in 2019 was the amount of monies they would need to spend to be able to access some of these traditional or religious heads. And yes, of course, you cannot go to a place without sort of appreciating or wetting the ground, as they say. But one thing we cannot deny is that Nigerian politics is still largely money-driven. Even if you don't hand monies to them based on your ideologies and your belief that we cannot continue to do the same thing repeatedly. I'd like to think that you spend money transporting yourself and paying for venues and doing some engagements here and there. So how do you fund your campaign as a small party that you are?
Yeah, no, my party is not a small party. Accord is been there for 16 years, and we have House of Reps. We have
that's all right. I get that. So I call some parties
we are not small party, but I think it's just an image in the mind of people to think that the only two parties that is out there to do all what they can do, or call big parties, the two parties, PDP and APC, but parties like Accord has been there, and party is party. We are registered the same way. Presidential candidate is presidential candidate.
Okay. So how do you
so let me go to your question. You must be ready for it. What we've been doing is we have a group of supporters who believe in what we are doing, Nigerians in Nigeria here, and ourselves also who have saved towards this purpose. You don't go into a campaign or any project when you are not also financially ready. So the logistics you talked about are a normal thing. In every part of the world, you must provide logistics for your supporters who will be following you around the country. You must provide logistics for yourself, pay for venue. It's very, very important. And that is the fund that we have, and that is the fund that we also have our supporters provided. Because, Nigerians and some set of Nigerians know quite well that it is in our generation to solve the problem of Nigeria. It is a mandate of our generation. You see, the truth must be told. It is our generation that is going to move our country to the next level. The older generation have done their best. Their best seems not to be enough. We must come up, take leadership. Leadership is not given, it must be taken. And that can only be done when we engage. We have a lot of people that have same ideology who are also contributing towards that. And to a large extent, I think you can see that is why our party, we've never sent out a campaign account to say Nigerians, because it's not, even in Nigeria, people do not have what's it called, the attitude or of wanting to give to a politician. You know, yes, we know that. I don't know, but we've seen that realistically, and we say, okay, how do we move this campaign and get it funded? So by the grace of God, we've been able to achieve.
So
do
you condemn those who solicit for funds from Nigerians?
We've had a lot of people who send out accounts, and at the end of the day, they don't. No Nigerians blame them back. Oh, you collected this money from us. We didn't see what, you know. It's not as if I blame them, but it's just about our societal belief. I'm not saying that I blame them, but I believe what we are doing is we have groups of people who believe in this cause, who are ready to. And there are some persons who also have seen us who say, oh, Prof. Chris, you are doing a good job. We want to support you. We want to support you logistically. We want to support you. And they're supporting the party. They're supporting our movement. You know, but again, the truth be told, Nigerian politics have not gotten to a point where the masses would come up like it is in the US and other part of the world.
And make donations.
And make donations.
But we're seeing that. I mean, I know that the Labour Party has put out an account, so also has APC. And the Labour Party's excuse is that when the people are part of the process, it is no longer a monetized process, and it's easier for them to hold you accountable for it. And they say that they are receiving donations from the masses, as you like to put it.
I don't want to go into other party issue, but you know what has happened to the party. You know what happened to the youth leader of that party that was suspended also for floating another account. It also gives room for other activities. But I don't want to go into the party issue. I have a party, so let me talk about a party. It also gives room for other. So we want to run a clean political system. We want to make sure that, yes, we are accountable to the people because they would vote for us. We are accountable to them because they will be part. People should not only send money to you as a means to donate for you. We have a lot of people out there who are having meetings of their own, who are organizing little rallies on their own, who are moving from one place, talking to others. So instead of you to send money to our account, use that money to support us wherever you are. It's the same thing. You know, we have a lot of people, they mustn't send that money to our account, you know. But if ever anybody comes to us and say, oh, we want to, you know, but we, intentional as a party, we have not registered an account out there to put out there because we are careful to make sure that we have a clean sheet all through. And that again...
But are your donations coming? Are you getting donations from people regardless?
Like I've said, I've told you how we are funding the campaign through friends and like minds who believe in what we are doing.
Okay,
and most of them are, and like I said, so this is what we've been doing, and we have been touching all across the nook and cranny. Our concern is about getting the vote come February 2023.
You know, that's a big concern. I mean, you're a professor at 38 years old. You're up 39. Against 39 now. Yeah. Okay, at 39, you are up against men in their 60s and 70s in a political terrain that favors experience and political strength. So take us through your journey that has prepared you for this presidential race and that is fueling your confidence that you could win this.
Number one, my passion and knowledge. Knowing that Nigeria must get to a time, which I believe we have gotten to, where we must get to the realization to know that the destiny of our children, the destiny of our nation can only be driven better by men of our generation. Once we have gotten to that realization, which we are, from 1966 till date, we've been running a country that have not been heading to where it ought to head to. And I'm not blaming those past leaders. You know, many of them I've met. I've had meetings with President Obasanjo. I've had meetings with President Abdul Salam, you know, head of state. You know, I meet them and my major questions to them is, how were you not able to do those things you were supposed to do? Because I want to learn from them. I want to know how to do it better. I want to become a better leader. So they have done their best. But, you know, we've got into an era. This is the fourth industrial revolution era. We need leaders who are technologically inclined as president, not those who work for them. You must know. You see, the leader must have great knowledge of how things run, not just employing those that have only great knowledge. That is why those who run, even look at organization. When the CEO of an organization knows his onions, you know, even if he's employing smart people, he knows how to direct them better. So we need men in our generation. And what has prepared me to believing that I'm going to do better? One, my antecedent, where I'm coming from. I've run organizations of numerous strength. And this organization, many of them are into social welfare, was the president of Unique Foundation. It's an NGO that have empowered Nigerians. I just believe in empowering Nigerians. I believe that as a third world country, underdeveloped country, what we can do as citizens is how do we contribute to helping our fellow citizens. That we have been doing. We also set up the Global Wealth System, which is a system that was empowering and training Nigerians on various business. During coronavirus, I told many of them, I said, see, you can make something happen even in a time that the world has shut down. So during coronavirus, we set up the Global Wealth System, and we made millionaires by teaching them what to do and how to do what to do and become millionaires even while they are home. I taught them that you can. And we need a president that can teach Nigeria how to prosper. The other day I said something that one of us, who is a friend, sold the app for $1 billion. $1 billion to Apple. $1 billion is about, in today's conversion, is about 750 billion naira. How many states will generate 750 billion naira in 10 years? So that is power of capacity driven, power of knowledge. So we run a knowledge-based economy, and we need a leader who will be able to interpret to Nigerian youths. Nigerian youth constitute over 60% of the Nigerian. And we need a leader that will motivate the Nigerian youth, that will teach the Nigerian youth, that will ensure that Nigeria will take over Nigeria and lead Nigeria into prosperity. That is what we represent. And again, being a professor from the educational sector, at this age, I've built 3 universities. I've been doing a lot of things with my personal life. Yesterday we were in a program, and I saw someone from Sierra Leone. I said, do you know, even in Sierra Leone, we have a school to also support the government of Sierra Leone. In Togo, in Benin Republic, in Ghana. We've been doing in Nigeria also so much. If I can do that on my private capacity, that is just my life. I've given my life to service to the people for many years. That is the kind of leader we want. When Nelson Mandela became the president of South Africa, he gave his life for a cause. I also have given my life towards the cause of ensuring that Africans, Nigerians, are empowered knowledge.
I believe you're hoping that Nigerians appreciate you for that. Now, while I had asked how you have prepared for this journey, I couldn't help but observe that you talked about how technocratically, or how much your technocrat experience will come to bear. However, we know that in the history of this country, technocrats have not found it easy to win political offices. And so, in terms of political preparation, what have you done? This is your first shot at politics, and you want to be president. What have you done to prepare yourself politically, such that you can confidently say that despite, in addition to my contributions to society, I've been able to sort of plant structures here or there to prepare me for this journey?
Yeah. All what I've just mentioned is structure. When I said we have an NGO, it's an NGO with about 5 million people. 5 million population is more than major parties. Yeah. When I talked about, I've given over 500,000 Nigerian scholarship. These are people that are loyal to my cause. As in, the Global Wealth System has over 450,000 membership. They are also loyal to my cause. Yet we have built structure. They might not look politically, but they are people. Human beings are the ones to vote at the end of the day. See, so we have done that, and it's all across Nigeria. It's not just in one state. It's all across the Nigerian state. And number 2, look at my vice president. He was the former SSG to Zamfara state government. He's a renowned politician from the north. He is a core politician. He understands this. And that is the combination that we need to drive our economy. I am techno-based. He is a politician. And that is what we need to drive. We do not. For me, I have this belief that if we must change our country, we must begin to look for people who do not necessarily, who might be politicians, but who do not necessarily have political mindsets. In that way, would have those whose focus would be about the people, whose agenda would be about the people, not self-interest. So that is the combination we have. And let me say this, we know that, and that's what we are doing. The 176,000 polling units, we are having our polling unit agent there. We are making sure that we are canvassing for votes.
You have the number to cover 176,000 polling units.
Of course, if I tell you as we speak, we don't need, see.
What's the membership strength of Accord Party?
It's not just about the party, it's about the support groups also. When you just mentioned a party, now and you said, look at what they're doing. It's not about that party. It's about the support group they've been able to galvanize. It's also about because the support group will also build on the party, because the party is the platform through which we eventually navigate to win. So a lot of support groups. I can tell you as we speak, it's a strategy. There are some things I'm not supposed to because it's a strategy. Once you make some strategy open, then it's no longer a strategy. We are winning this election. Yeah, we might not be there because, let me say this, in Nigeria, when you have politicians who've been there for 35 years, 40 years in the political scene, it's not just easy for a boy to come from nowhere and you gain political popularity over them. Because many of these guys have been popular before social media adventure. Many of these guys, not social media that made them popular. And I've said, people, you need to come up on social media. Social media do not make politicians popular. I must say that. Many of these politicians you see everywhere have been popular. Many of them have been governors, run as vice president. So activities have made them popular to Nigerians. So what we are focusing majorly is to ensure that we get our job done at the grassroots and get our vote at the end of the day.
3 months to the election, as it approaches, some candidates are beginning to realize, as they say, that the jungle is maturing. And I just heard you say that you will win this election. I was going to ask you how far you would go. But here you say that you would win this election. I'm tempted to find out why you believe that you will win this election.
It's the numbers. I know my statistics and we are working on the numbers. We know the number of our supporters.
Great. So 3 months to this election now. It would seem that there are obviously 4 front runners. You're not a front runner, or do you consider yourself to be a front runner?
Who made them a front runner? It's just I don't want to say media. Who made them a front runner? We've had that in series elections before, that those who were more popular did not get a vote. Yes, you can mention names. Do you know that even in Accord, the last election, the guy who represented Accord, our presidential candidate, who also did not get to the election, and while he was on the journey to the election, he realized that, I could not win, and he withdrew. But that guy had more votes than many persons that are known online.
But did not win.
No, what I'm saying is this. Let me first talk about number of votes first. Yes, he gave up, for example. Because like you said, some persons will give up and they don't end up doing anything. That means there's a structure in place. I am not giving up. I am going through to the election. And our numbers are encouraging. The numbers we are seeing are far encouraging. And we believe as we continue to engage Nigeria, more in December, thank God we're in December, in January and February, Nigeria will begin to see that election in Nigeria will favor us.
When you question these frontrunners, believing that you are a frontrunner yourself, I need to ask you this. There are polls that have been conducted that have projected the same 4 frontrunners, and then we see endorsements left, right, and center tilting in that direction. Does it not tell you that these are the people that are the frontrunners of the election?
It's not telling me anything.
How do you define who a frontrunner is?
I don't know who define it. That is the problem. Who is defining it? What?
It's acceptability.
It's previous popularity. Yes, these people have been popular based on their previous political activities. And naturally, people just choose to believe they are the one. Do you know we have 18 to 19 presidential candidates? Yes. Nobody is even talking about the other 14. Does it mean they are not working? Does it mean they are not going to get votes? Does it mean they don't have possibility of winning the election? No.
No, the concern because of the kind of politics we run is, it is rather difficult, almost impossible, to come out of the blues and win an election against established political parties that have held sway for a while. So many would want to question why the other parties who are not getting as much attention or making as much noise as the others are not coming together to at least increase their strength to go against these bigger parties.
I don't believe in parties coming together. Let every party fight through and do the best they can. So, yes, the media is doing its best to see how to give spotlight to everybody. And even the social media and the media tools and everything is also, it depends on the kind of, I'm not talking about, it depends on social media, it depends on the kind of money you also put in. Some of us might not want to put so much of our fund in that and putting little fund in the media and putting more fund in getting the vote. Yes, in getting the vote. Getting the vote is very important. And a thing might look impossible until it's done. This has happened everywhere in the world, some other places, where it never believed that a black man could be the president of the U.S. It's even more traditional in the U.S. before Obama became a president. It's more traditional in other parts of the world. We cannot say it's not possible. I do not believe in impossibility. I've achieved what is impossible, and I believe, by the grace of God and the support of Nigerians, it's about engaging. Believe me, our statistics are nice. Our work in the grassroots are doing well, and we believe as we proceed to election, we'll win. And let me say this. There must just be a candidate that will face the Goliath and make them know that Nigeria can truly win. Yes, if I win when I win election, that is a win for Nigeria. Because it's something absurd, it's something that is unbelievable. And it should happen. And it cannot happen just by itself. A lot of work must go in. We know that, and we are doing that, and we know where we ought to face. We know what we need to do. I'm telling you.
Well, then you know statistically, and considering the polls, that third force is now regarded as the Labour Party to go up against the PDP and the APC. You agree that in past elections we've been used to the PDP and the APC?
They are the same. It's still PDP. It's still the same PDP. Labour Party, you call the candidate is the PDP. So they are still the same structure. Most of the people coming from PDP, they are still, his vice president contested for primaries in the PDP. He was there. They are still, it's not a third force. They are the same. It's just a progeny of PDP. When you talk about third force, it's a neutral person like us who has not been in all these parties. They are still, so it's still the same thing. It's still about APC and PDP. And Nigeria must begin to understand this, that if we must change our nation, if we are actually clamoring for a fresh idea, a new ideology in our political space, it must be someone neutral, who is coming from a neutral background, coming into Nigeria politics to make sure that we progress our nation. So that is what, and Nigeria will realize that. They are beginning to realize this moving forward. Yes, and believe me, the space of our Nigerian politics, market in January and February, will change.
What's your take on their individual candidacy? And why do you think Nigerians should look away from them beyond the parties they belong to?
Yes, number one, they are part of the problem. Their friends are those who also cause the problem. If we must be realistic, is Nigeria a country that we wish to live in? We talk about the Japa syndrome. Most of the youth want to leave this country. Do you know how much a nurse is being paid? A nurse. Do you know how much teachers earn in Nigeria? These people are the same. They are friends of those who destroy. They are part of them. The problem of Nigeria is not problem caused by God. It's man-made problem caused by those who have led us and those currently leading us. And if any organization is having a repeated problem all over and over again, what you must do at that time, if you want to move forward, is to change the people in that system. Or reorientate them if they can be reorientated. These ones cannot be reorientated. Many of them are bigger than the system. They would not build a system because they don't want to be monitored. They don't want to be subjugated. They don't want to be subjected to rule of law. So what we must do is there must be a deliberate attempt to change and bring in new, fresh ideas. That is why we are here as an option for Nigerians. We have 19 political parties. Nigeria must begin to research the credentials of every candidate that is applying for this job. That is it. Once you have options, once you have numerous people you can pick from, then you have a better democracy. You have better chances of picking. You must not just limit to say it's only those who have led us in a particular capacity that is capable of leading us again. Many of us have done better privately than many of these people. Many of us have better credentials than many of these people. When Nigeria check, they'll be surprised at what we have done. And that is the reason why you must vote. You don't vote for anybody because they have political popularity. Popularity does not make a better candidate. What makes a better candidate is check what they've done privately, assess them, research on them. It might be difficult. But when we look at the level of education by those who truly vote, you mentioned the polls. See, many of those that will vote are not part of that polls. Even many of us who are candidates were not even aware of those polls when those polls were done. So many polls, I can, as a candidate, I can float a poll. I can sponsor a poll. And before you know, the result is out. I'm telling you. So let us leave that. At the end of the day, we're going to see the real voters who are going to vote this. So my take is this. For Nigerians to actually vote in a candidate of their choice, research, check. If 19 people apply for a job, it's important to interview all of them. know, these Chinas, when people apply for a job, you don't just say, oh, we have the 4 best presenters, but the rest. You might be surprised. There might be someone unknown that might perform far better than those who are known. Yet you must give equal opportunity for all candidates if truly you want a better country. Nigerians are tired of our present situation. Yeah. We need a leader that can take us to where we ought to.
You know, SERAP is asking all the candidates to declare their assets. And the credibility of the candidates, each of you, 18 of you, is being called to question what you did in the past and whether or not it should speak for you in 2023. So I ask you, at 38, you've done so much for yourself. You pride in some of the scholarships you've given, the schools you've built, and the organizations you've floated. How did you make your money?
It's simple. Number one, you talk about SERAP. I am very open to declaring my asset. I've made that publication out there. Because you are serving Nigerians. And first, Nigerians must see that transparency in you. That you're a clean man with a clean record. That is what we're bringing. At any time we are called on to declare our asset, it's open. All what I do is out there. I'm a young and prosperous Nigeria who believe that with the technology world today, anybody, in short, we're in the era where becoming a billionaire is easiest if you understand how to use technology to enhance your businesses. I just told you of one of us who sold a app to Apple at $1 billion. That is power of knowledge. Do you know how much you can make just by having an online university? Do you know how much? Do you know what can be done just by integrating digital knowledge and capacity to whatever you do? We have Nigerians doing so well. Look at Flutterwave. Flutterwave is owned by young Nigerians, who is the first financial institution who has crossed the 1 billion benchmark. Young Nigerians, smart Nigerians doing well. University, look, I have even written to federal government to tell them how much Nigerians can make if properly we can re-enhance our educational system. We can even make so much money in our education than what we make in the oil and gas. Are you aware that Ghana, as a country, make over $1 billion from Nigerians that migrate to Ghana to study? Countries like UK. I sat on the board of ASIC. ASIC is Accreditation Service for International College and University in the UK. I'm the only black man that sits. I know how much the UK make from Nigerians studying in the UK. We must know where the money is. I know where the money is. And we get those money for Nigeria. Privately, I understand this. I'm into real estate. I'm into oil and gas. I'm into education. And the money is there. We have a population of 200 million. Do you know just by selling phone to 10 million people, do you know how much you're going to make? Coke, for example, sells 1 million bottles of Coke as at 2016 to every Nigerian. In China, Coke sells about 1 billion bottles of Coke every day. But the richest man in China sells bottles of water.
I was very specific with my question.
No, I'm answering you. I'm also answering specific.
I'm hoping you could be specific.
No, I'm telling you everything. So you sum up all these businesses.
No. My question is, you are well-to-do, and it's commendable. But if we're asking every candidate about their credibility, we shouldn't leave you out, should we?
No, of course.
Good. So how did you make your money?
I'm a businessman, and I've just told you the business I'm doing.
Okay, what businesses?
I just told you that I own university. I own university. I'm the owner of Global Wealth University.
But how did you get the funding to set up a university?
I'm into business. I'm into business. I own businesses. I'm into business. I sell and I make money.
No, you can name these businesses. You can mention these
Of course,
businesses.
I'm the president of JPTS Institute. JPTS Institute is an institute. It started as an oil and gas institute in Nigeria, where we train Nigerians on oil and gas specifics. We made money from JPTS. I'm also the founder of Unique Estate. We started estates in Lagos, another part, and I made money from estate. I'm also into a lot of investment. I invested in hedge fund. I invested in, new things that a lot of Nigerians need to know. We had time in Nigeria where even federal government was against investment that would have even made Nigerian youth rich. Huge investment, genuine investment. So these are things that we are going to bring on board to teach Nigerian youth. And I told you about Global Wealth System. Go and check Global Wealth System. It's a business system that we're training Nigeria 22 businesses to do. Business in real estate, in fashion, in petroleum products. I was the president onshore offshore oil and gas association of Nigeria. I'm also deeply into downstream oil and gas. So there's a lot of businesses you can do and make legitimate money. I'm one of those youth. We have a lot of youth also making legitimate money everywhere. I'm one of those youth that is part of that category. And our duty is to teach our youth how to be prosper. So, and when you have done that, it's important, beyond making those money, most of the wealth we have made is also channeled back to giving back to society, supporting the people. That's when I mentioned scholarship, helping the people gain scholarship, gain access to education. The scholarship centers we've set up in different parts of Nigeria is to help Nigeria have access to education. Because I believe that one of the tools that will help Africans and Nigeria to realize their self-potential and compete effectively globally is education. Africans and Nigeria need to be educated. It's very key for us. So some of these things are part of the background that we are bringing on board to lead Nigeria into prosperity.
Great. I see that you visited some past leaders of the country, as you rightly mentioned in the beginning, former President Olusegun Obasanjo and former head of state Abdul Salami Abubakar. Now, with regards to that, Sowore, in responding to why he hasn't gone to visit them, said, you cannot be going to people like that, whom he considers to have spoiled this country, or put the country in the situation that it is, to seek advice and sort of get experience from. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think that is his opinion. But in my own opinion, even if Nigerians have tagged some of them as people who had caused the problem, we cannot say there are no areas they've also succeeded. Yes, even if you tag them as bad leaders, there are areas. What I'm doing is to learn. Good leaders must learn from past leaders, whether they fail or they don't. Learning from them is to learn, how did you fail? For example, even if you fail. And the areas you've succeeded, how did you succeed? Not because you don't know what to do. You're learning. You aggregate all this knowledge together and do better. No man knows it all. A tree cannot make a forest.
So you went to learn, not to get their blessings or endorsements?
No blessings as elders. They are elders. In Africa, we respect elders. So blessings as elders, blessings as past leaders. God also respect past leaders. So blessings as past leaders. Oh, you are a father, pray for me. I'm going into this. But most importantly, to learn. And our conversation borders around issues about Nigeria and what they did. And funny enough, I've met with so many persons who also were part of those who were alive during independence. I want to know, I say, what were your aspirations when Nigeria got independent? What were you hoping that Nigeria would have become? And listening to them brings the spirit of Nigerian leadership into me. Wow, you need to listen to people who fought for Nigeria. Because if you don't know your history, you cannot do better. That is the biggest problem. So we need to meet these past heroes and look at what our national anthem said. It said, the labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. So if young generation are coming to leadership, we must understand that there are people who have also labored, who have shed their blood, who have died for the cause of Nigeria. There are people who have genuinely served this country. Some of them were part of the bad system, but they were not bad in themselves. That is no way to justify any leader here. But so learning from them is key. And you cannot do better if you don't learn from past leaders. So that is why, I will continue to learn from past leaders, to learn in order to drive our nation better into a better place. Yeah.
Professor Imumolen, your manifesto has two major highlights, education and security. Let's talk about security now. I couldn't help but notice that the issue of state police or decentralized police authority wasn't mentioned when you were talking about addressing the issue of security. While there are concerns that state governors could weaponize state police against their political opponents, experts say that it is still a very important way to address the security concerns in this country. Did you intentionally leave out state police, or what are your thoughts in general regarding the establishment of state police? Okay,
if you look at our manifesto, we spoke deeply on national integration because we are in a time where Nigeria is so divided. You see the agitation in the southeast and some other parts of the country. The agitation is not just about even regional agitation. We now have states who are even agitating across borderline. Yes, I understand, because security is at the grassroots. Security is neighborhood. Even in the U.S., when the Twin Tower was hit by bomb, immediately they set up a policy called Homeland Security, knowing that you must ensure that you track, because you cannot track if you don't have access to intelligence before crime happen. And you must go to the grass, you must empower. I believe so much in state police. However, As a nation, I'm not a leader that will just speak things that people want to hear without solving the problem. The first thing we must do is to reunite the country. Because that tendency of state hijacking is there. We must reunite the country and let everybody know that you are part of Nigeria. We must bring the agitation to bear. Make sure that every part of Nigeria believes in Nigeria, and that we can do in the shortest period of time. Then we'll begin to talk about state policing. Yes, I believe so much in state policing, but it is not to be done with the situation we have in Nigeria today. So a responsible leader like we would first attempt to reunite the country, bring the country together. Then you implement the state police. And while doing that, you must also draft a lot of review constitution to ensure that Nigeria as a country remain a sovereign country while you are trying to achieve a particular.
Is that how you would also address the farmers' herders conflict, uniting the country?
Yeah, farmers' herders conflict is political based, and we know you must.
You think it's politically based?
Yes, it's politically based. There are sponsors. There are people who are. It's political based. It's political based, and we are going to. That can be resolved by security challenge, by security enforcing the security, making sure that we invest usually in technology, making sure that our satellite is working, making sure that we're able to track activities of Nigeria in Nigeria, making sure that we secure our borderline, both country borderline and interstate borderline, make sure we equipped our security so much that they would not jeopardize and compromise. It's very key. And once we're able to do that, and also give proper independence to our judiciary, we need to build a strong institution. And that can only be done when we have a system, economic system. I'm a digital professor. One of my biggest mandates is also to digitalize the Nigerian economy. By so doing, we have a system that can be monitored and regulated. And that will solve by itself the farmers' herders conflict. We are going to make sure that those who are involved, because there are people that are sabotage.
But there are proposed solutions. State governors had issued statements saying that there should be no open grazing. Benue State has passed a law saying there should be no open grazing, believing that that's a solution.
I made a research on the herdsmen. This is a business they've been doing for thousands of years. Traditional businesses that I'm from South, so I shouldn't even talk like this. I should talk, but I'm vying for the position of presidency. So I must look at every issue from a better perspective. Look, we all use phone. We have all been used to phone. Imagine if your phone is taken from you in a day. You know how you feel? Very uncomfortable. Once you are used to a particular system of lifestyle, I'm telling you, it's about behavioral pattern. Human being is beyond just policy. It's beyond just enacting law. You can enact a law, nobody will follow. Just tell Nigeria don't use phone in a day. Many people might not, because it's now part of their life. It's part of their life as nomadic. How do we stop them from doing what they've been doing for thousands of years to adjust into a new style? So for us, we are going to go through it psychologically and ensure that, yes, the solution is making sure that they have ranches. We encourage them so that they don't move and start having all these challenges. But again, how come you have these men having AK-47? We don't have lions and elephants in those places there. What is AK? So there are things we must tackle. The major problem is the killing. The major problem is having. So there are things we must tackle. Number one, we must ensure that the behavioral lifestyle is changed, and we know how to tackle that. And secondly, we encourage them for ranching. That must be greatly encouraged.
Let's talk about education now. I see that it is also one of your priorities. You've also said that education remains the bedrock of national development, peace and stability, but you are concerned that present and past administrations in this country have failed to develop education. What would you do differently?
A man like me who have been hugely involved in education, you expect a very good educational approach. Number one, our problem with education itself is the value that our leaders have on education. I have so much value for education. That is why I'm the only presidential candidate who has given more scholarship privately than anyone. I understand digitalization of education. I believe that school might be shut down, but education continues if you digitalize education. We must begin to introduce that to our primary, secondary, and university. I believe so much in revitalizing our educational system from the nursery to the tertiary level. I believe so much in revitalizing our informal, non-formal, and formal educational system. I believe so much in investing, even more than the 6.5% we currently invest in education. My take is to even invest more, up to 20% of our budget on education alone, because I understand what education will do to national development. We have a lot of resources, but once we are not able to harness and support, enhance, build human resources itself, believe me, all resources will be lying fallow. So a system to rejig the curriculum, a system to retrain teachers and retrain them for certification, a system to ensure that we build facilities and we build our schools, a system to digitalize, a system to increase payment and pay. Look at what is happening to us. For example, there are professions you don't treat less. Teachers are the strength of every society. You must pay them well, you must encourage them, you must support them. When you don't pay teachers, you build a system, you build people, they will not be motivated to train. For example, look at even your children at home. When you have home lesson teachers for your own child, you want to pay that lesson teachers very well. Because the more you motivate, the more your child will be better. But if you don't pay, you pay half, I'm not going to pay you. You don't do that because of your child. So we must begin to see every Nigerian student as our children. And we must do everything possible to educate them. I believe education cannot be too expensive for any country to pay for. If we believe education is expensive, then what we currently have, ignorance, is what we will be.
As a professor, what's your take on the proliferation of universities? If you become president, there are quite a number of establishment bills for universities that will be at your table, I think next year, based on the number of bills to establish universities that have been passed by the National Assembly. Every lawmaker believes that they should attract a university to their constituency. What's your take on that?
Number one, we have government-owned, that means states and federal government controlled university. Okay, and my take is to also ensure that we have more private university, and I will tell you why. Because look at what is happening to the primary and secondary educational system. The system is driven largely by private investors, people, over 70%. But in the tertiary system, we still have government still controlling more than 90%. That is why any strike in the tertiary school will affect the whole country. Because even though we have over 100 and something private universities, but they still take less than 10% of the Nigerian students. And again, the prices and the cost of this private are very high, on the high side compared to what Nigeria. I believe once you start having more approval for private universities in Nigeria, there will be competition and tuition fee will drop by itself because government do not control tuition fee. Another thing is the 100 hectares of land needed to establish university will be jettisoned. Because you don't approve university, there's nowhere in the world where universities are approved based on the land size. It's approved based on quality and content of what is to be taught. In the US, in Ghana, in every part of the world, places like this can be a mono university that trains only engineering. In as much as you have the equipment, you have the facility, you give them the benchmark number of students they can admit. This question of not have, look at, we have 1.something million Nigeria sit for JAM every year. The Nigerian university system can only absorb less than 300,000. What happens to 700,000 Nigeria? You have many of them go to Benin Republic, go to Ghana. I know this field so much. This is the field I dwell in. I can give you the breakdown statistics. I know Nigerian university is not even attracting foreign patronage. Have you seen the white people in Nigerian university studying? What is our cost? What's our input on research? We're a nation that has zero research capacity. And any nation that cannot research, you cannot solve your own problem, because research helps you to identify problems and to solve problems. One, for national good, then you start looking at global problems. When COVID-19 hits the world, Africa, we're waiting for the European, the other foreign world to solve our problem. We must invest hugely in research. We must support PhD students to ensure that their project is tied to industrial based. That will help us. We have a lot of research institutions in Nigeria that are dead, grasses everywhere, nothing in their lab. We must begin to draw that. And largely, like I said, I'm a professor that will make sure that we run a system across all what we do in the Nigeria economy, a system in our education, a system in the security, a system in legislature, in every facet of what we do, we must have a system that would interpret our constitution to daily activities.
Will you approve students' loans as well?
Okay, number one, why it's going to be difficult? I've seen some party manifesto. You don't just jump at. You must look at the problem. What is the root cause of our problem? The analysis. What is student loan? Student loan is done in which country? In the US, in England. How have they been able to do it? Because they have a system. Because they can run a credit economy. Do you know that the biggest collateral to giving a loan is identity? Once you're able to identify, know the person you are, you don't even need him to bring a land document. We don't have. What is your number as a citizen of Nigeria? Who are you as a Nigerian? Where do you live? Our houses are not numbered. We don't have geo system. We must begin to draw up a system. Once we draw up a system, we must begin to number Nigeria. We talk about the social security number. We have the NIM number. What is happening to the children that we are giving birth to? You start numbering a citizen from the day of birth to the date of death. That is a system. You must draw up a system. And when you do that, you are sure that if we give you things, even no matter where you are, in the next 30 years, in the US, we're told that Obama ended paying his loan even when he became a president or almost becoming a president of the US. Give them about 30 years. Can we do that? What is the possibility of a Nigerian getting a job after school? So we must be realistic. Just like the question you have about state security. We must not just become leaders that will promise what we cannot do. I believe so much in student loan, and I believe it can be achieved, but we must first run a database economy. And once we're able to run a database economy, then we'll run a credit economy. We should be giving credit facilities to Nigeria. But we cannot do it because we don't have a data as a country. Are you aware that even a Cameroonian can pick a Nigerian passport? A Ghana. That is the worst that can happen to any nation. It means that we are not ready to be the nation. In your passport, your identity as a citizen can be picked by anybody. What is the purpose of picking a passport? Where is it? Where are you from? I'm from Isha. Who knows? Where is my... So we must begin to overhaul the Nigerian system. That is very key. And once we're able to do that, then we can run a credit economy. But in the interim, we can have a partnership with school and see how we can, school to school, give credit loan. But that again will not segregate. Because there are some students that might not have access because of the requirement that will be put in. But for me, instead of talking about student loan, let us enhance the bursary system. Let us give students more money. Students, let us reduce, let us subsidize school fees let's subsidize what we are doing to healthcare by creating healthcare insurance scheme. We can also create education insurance scheme for students because education is key. It's not about loan. We are giving them, it's for free for now. So once we're able to create the system, we cannot be talking about loan.
Just before we go, the elections are almost here, and I recall that you signed a peace accord as well. And there are concerns now as to the state of the polity and politicians heating up the polity with their words and actions. So just as quickly as you can, talk to me about what you think about the state of the polity and your confidence or otherwise in INEC ahead of the 2023 general elections.
Okay, the peace accord is very important that candidates who are vying for political offices must be responsible for actions, not just their actions alone, even actions of their followers. They must be able to curtail their followers to understanding the rule of law as regarding election. We must begin to be responsible for what we say, what we do at every time. And we must be conscious about everything we do to making sure that we operate within the framework and the guideline of the electoral laws in Nigeria. So it's very good. Then secondly, about INEC, I think it is just good that we believe in INEC, we support INEC, we encourage INEC, because the job that INEC have at hand is an enormous tax, I must tell you. It's good, we can blame from the outside, but when you are in there, you understand Nigeria is a very big country, 200 million with no system. When you have 200 million people running an analog country of 200 million, it's more difficult to conduct election in Nigeria than in any country in the world, like the US. 200 analog million people country. I love what INEC is doing with the beavers, coming up with the technology. You can see some parties trying to negate it, but that is just the future. That is what Nigeria must. We are expanding hugely, and that is where we must go to. So INEC must be commended, INEC must be encouraged, INEC must be supported, and we believe that this election in 2023 will be free and fair. Of course, there might be one or two irregularities, which of course myself had also complained. Now we have polling units set up. We now have 176,000 plus polling units in a country that have less than 350,000 security personnel. Who are going to mount those polling units? it means that there will be so many polling units on man next election. So we must, but I also tell the security forces, you should look at this lacuna. We believe that there will be creation, there will be more recruitment before that time to cover up these gaps and this loophole. We want to believe and we are hopeful that the next election will present Nigeria an opportunity to select their best candidates.
Professor Imumolen, thank you very much for coming on Political Paradigm.
Thank you so
and
much.
I wish you very well.
Thank you so much.
Wish you well.
Yeah.
Professor Christopher Imumolen is the presidential candidate of the Accord Party. He is 39 years old and the youngest of them. Well, that's Political Paradigm. Thanks for your time. Remember to go to YouTube and search Political Paradigm for this episode and others. Or you could simply go to channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.